maybe the Pelicans didn't expect, which led to 69 first-half points. Second half, they cut it to 49. First half, they shot the ball well from three. Second half, they got to those three-point shooters, a little more energy, a little more effort, and they were able to close this one out.
Fresh off his first All-Star nod, Zion Williamson recorded his 11th career 30-point game tonight. The only other player in NBA history to record that many 30-pointers through their first 54 games, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. I hear he was pretty good.
He was decent. He was decent, but he was no Zion. And Zion is must-see TV. And all I could think about is when Zion was playing in this game and scoring his 30 points, I thought, people come to watch him play. And I know many times people come to watch a certain player play and they get in foul trouble or they just don't play well. Zion seems to give it to the fans every single night, and that is fun to watch. You know you're going to get this awesome night of dunks and high scoring, and the way he can move his body. I mean, the fans walk away happy and a W.
You know, and AD obviously touched on his ability to contort his body in various ways to finish at the rim with the finishing touch. But let's not forget one of his most underrated aspects, and that's his basketball IQ and his floor vision. His ability to really draw the D in and kick it out to open teammates, his passing ability as well. I mean, multifaceted. And in his 54th career game, David Wesley.
He had two plays tonight that were like guard-like, and the first one was the cross court to J.J. Redick, or that was the second one, the cross court to J.J. Redick, and then when he ran the break and dropped it off to Josh Hart. Those were, he made them look simple, but those were plays that a lot of bigs don't. 6'9", it doesn't matter. They don't handle an open court, and they don't make those plays, especially that one to J.J. You weren't even sure if he saw J.J., and he put the pass right on the money for him to knock down that shot. Another big man that's pretty good at passing himself, and he certainly had an impact on the second chance points tonight in his return to the floor for the first time in a week. Steven Adams, great to see him, and that sprained ankle looking much better tonight, David Wesley. Well, I think we should just plug in a double-double for him. We should just plug in his 12 or 13 rebounds, because that's what he does. And especially in that second half when the Pelicans needed something, he gave them extra shot after extra shot after extra shot. Relentless on the boards. He had 6 offensive rebounds tonight, and the Pelicans needed them all. And then finally they took control of the game. And I don't know how you live without him. I really don't. I don't know how you don't keep him for his whole career, and I don't know how you live without him, because he is that player that you can count on every single night to give you just those numbers right there. Yeah, as I mentioned, he and Zion, two very large reasons, both physically and figuratively, as to why the Pelicans racked up a season-high 74 points in the paint tonight. And again, we mentioned Zion's moves down there and whatnot. But you saw Josh Hart even getting in on some of those points. What do you make of them setting a high in this particular campaign tonight? Well, again, you know, they didn't shoot as many threes as they have been. They only shot 23 of them. But they're so dominant, they realize that this team does not have a big other than Plumlee. So attack, attack, attack. 74 points in the paint is a boatload, and they knew it. And this is a foul. but a great finish by B.I. But you can see they had a game plan, and we talked about sticking to your game plan. They didn't come out here and try to outshoot this team from three. They punished them in the paint. That was their advantage, and they finally kind of closed the distance and was able to get in front and then never let it go. You know, we mentioned entering tonight's game. The news of the All-Star selections yesterday was very bittersweet. We were obviously very excited for Zion Williamson receiving his first nod, but obviously disappointed for Brandon Ingram. And I saw a Brandon Ingram that felt maybe a bit snubbed tonight, showing folks maybe why he should still maybe serve as a replacement if needed. But he is the straw that stirs the drink, man. Agree? Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You know, they can't win these games without him, and he was big coming down the stretch. Zion and B.I. combined 22 of 36 from the field for 59 points. Is that good? 13 assists and 13 rebounds. Okay. The two of them. That's pretty good. And I don't know if it's Batman and Batman or Batman and Batman 2, but they're special together. They play well off of each other. And at any given time, either one or both take over and just carry this team along with them.
Fifth game of at least 25-5. And, you know, you and I discussed this earlier today on the Pelicans podcast. Tune in wherever you listen to podcasts with Daniel Salerson, of course. And we mentioned that just how bright the future is with Zion and Brandon being the cornerstones and spearheading this thing. And I believe they're both really kind of changing the narrative around these small markets in the NBA. I mean, I think the Pelicans have set a season high in number of national TV games. I mean, Brandon and Zion are must-watch TV. And I just have to appreciate what we get to watch from both of them on a nightly basis.
You know, and small markets don't get their due. They don't normally get the players. They normally don't get high-profile players. But when they do, if you can get some wins and you can have a player like Zion who is must-see TV, then you're going to get those national TV games. And obviously, they like playing on national TV. They came back from 24 against Boston on national TV. So hopefully tomorrow night, again, national TV, they can go out to Milwaukee and beat them again.
Yeah, listen, that one is going to be another national game, as you mentioned. I will ask you this as well. And again, something else we discussed on the podcast today, but Stan talked about playing 48 minutes. We obviously saw some defensive struggles in the first half, and we're going to get to those later in the show. You're in fact going to take us into the film room on those. But in the second half, you saw them, and AD put it best, I think, on the broadcast. He said, you got to continue to put the bricks in the wall. They will eventually form a wall, which means it'll eventually pay off. But you got to stick with the game plan. You got to trust it, and you got to stay with it. You can't veer and abandon it when things don't go your way. And I saw some of that in the second half, which is encouraging.
Well, normally when they get behind, they start just launching threes. They start playing a lot of one-on-one. Tonight they continue to attack. Even though there was some one-on-one by B.I., it was an attacking one-on-one. It was in the paint. It was drawing fouls. And everybody played like that. They didn't all of a sudden start shooting bad shots. That is the reason why they were able to put the bricks in place and come all the way back, and not just come back, take a lead and keep the lead. It's very important for them to execute on offense and defense. And in the second half, they got to that execution of one, playing together, moving the basketball on offense, but defensively they flew around. They got tips, deflections, and things like that so that they can get out in transition. Yeah, we really only keep AD around for his analogies. Stan also has some pretty good ones. Let's see if he's got some at the mic now.
I mean, they did a good job, done a good job the last two games. So, you know, you hope that we continue that habit. Every day is a new day, though, and a new challenge and everything else. So, you know, I think that's the way I'm looking at it. I hope that's the way they're looking at it. You know, I've said to you guys numerous times, I'm not a big believer in momentum or anything else. And momentum is whatever you bring to the floor that night.
And as far as what happened tonight, 74 points in the paint, that is a season high. Is that how you like to see this offense attack?
Well, I mean, we're a team that needs to attack, yes. I didn't like their points in the paint, but I liked ours, yes.
Coach, I know you mentioned before the game about how you were just really excited that Zion Williamson made the All-Star team, a little disappointed that Brandon Ingram did not, but we saw again tonight that Brandon is playing like an all-star when you see the numbers and the crooked numbers and the assist totals and the rebound totals. He's playing like an all-star. It's just unfortunate he didn't make the team.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it really is. But again, and I've said this even before the voting, we only picked 12 out of 15 teams. I mean, it's really, really hard. I mean, you know, Brandon, it plays like an all-star. There's several other guys, you know, in both conferences who are all-star worthy players. You know, I mean, I was texting with one of my former players last night, Tobias Harris. You know, really disappointed. Look at his numbers. They're great. Booker didn't make it first time through. He got named as a replacement. You know, listen, I mean, Mike Conley could make a good